live and local with coverage you can count on. This is WNEM-TV5 News at 7 on My 5.
Two major announcements tonight, one good for the area and one not so good. We'll have more on the news from General Motors in just a minute, but first.
I, Karen W. Weaver, Mayor of the City of Flint, declare a state of emergency in the City of Flint.
A little more than a month after being elected, the mayor of Flint, Karen Weaver, declares a state of emergency in response to the ongoing water crisis around the city. It's a story that continues to get national headlines, contaminated water that health officials are still telling people not to drink. Today, Mayor Weaver made good on a campaign promise, but it remains to be seen the effect it will have. This afternoon, she declared Flint in a state of emergency. She hopes the move will put Flint on the fast track to getting more state and federal money to fix the problem. Those decisions must come from Governor Snyder and President Obama. Weaver says that it is an important step, but the battle is far from over.
Because we need some help. We know this costs a lot. It costs a lot, and Flint can't be solely responsible for the burden of this cost. And that's why we're asking for state and federal funds.
The Genesee County Board of Commissioners must approve the state of emergency declaration before it can go to the state. It's not clear when or if that will happen. And tune in to CBS News this morning beginning at 7 a.m. Adriana Diaz will have a special report from Flint on the water crisis. On a more positive note tonight, General Motors announcing a major investment in mid-Michigan. The automaker will be pumping more than $300 million into the area, creating dozens of jobs. With more on this, TV5's Ronnie Duncan joins us from Flint.
Well, it's not the news of back in the day, but it's pretty good news. And when you consider the mere fact that more jobs are going to be coming to General Motors right across mid-Michigan, it's good news. And if it's shifting gears, it seems like there will be a steady cash flow along with jobs retained in the city.
It's always great news to find out you're going to retain jobs and get new work coming in.
Frida Holder is beaming with the pure joy that many workers are feeling at the General Motors engine plant today. This after hearing the news that GM was pumping more than $356 million into a new engine line in Flint, Saginaw, and Grand Rapids, creating more than 50 jobs.
This engine program will help us retain 410 hourly and salary jobs at this facility.
This new announcement will affect people like these who work here at this plant in Flint. And the one thing they have now is job security, and that's because of job retention.
Oh, this is a huge step in the right direction. And, you know, when you think about what this means for the future of this plant, the workforce, and the community, bringing a new engine in that is going to have a long life gives us the opportunity to bridge to the future.
A future that GM insists is looking brighter with this investment. GM has put more than $960 million into the Flint engine plant over the last 10 years. And that alone has Gerald Kareem feeling good.
This is great news for not only the city of Flint and the workers here, but it's great news for Michigan. It really is great news for America.
And it's bittersweet news for some as they look back to the glory days gone by and the many jobs that went with it.
It's 23 years from the day that they announced they were going to close V8 engine, our home plant, you know, our original plant, most of us in here. So, yeah, it's great news.
Some things are hard to swallow and to forget. But looking on the positive side, this new engine that's going to be built right here in Flint will be an engine that will be fuel efficient. And right now, GM says it's top secret. Reporting in Flint, Ronnie Duncan, WNEM, TV5 News at 7 on My 5.
Ronnie, thank you. If you would like to see the GM announcement in its entirety, just head to the homepage of WNEM.com. Meantime, a smaller portion of that money will go to the Saginaw area, but it will still make a significant impact. TV5's James Felton continues our team coverage.
Employees we talked to are glad to hear about this investment in their plant.
It's fantastic, and I hope it's good for all of Saginaw.
Terry Erskine has been with General Motors for 37 years. He's excited that the company is investing $50 million in the Saginaw metal castings plant where he works, telling us everyone in the plant was in good spirits after hearing the news.
I think it's real good, especially for all the new people and the younger guys that makes them feel like they're not on edge.
The move will retain 68 jobs. The money will be used for future driveline component production. We heard from several employees today after they learned the big news.
That's amazing for the city of Saginaw, man. Yeah, that's a blessing.
I like my job very well.
That's good. Good news.
I think it's always great to have Warwick. And I think this community needs that.
As for Erskine, he thinks the decision by GM to invest more into this facility gives him some much-needed stability.
It's good to be able to stable. I'm not a GM gypsy no more. If you've ever had to go from plant to plant to plant, you know what it's like moving your family here, there.
And GM tells us they've invested more than $300 million in Saginaw since 2011. For WNEM TV5 News at 7 on My 5, I'm James Felton.
James, thank you. Temperatures on their way back down this evening as we take a live look over Saginaw and in Genesee County. Meteorologist Chris Eastlick joins us now with a first look at our forecast. Hi, Chris.
Hi there, David. Yeah, we had a cold front go through yesterday, and it's already put an impact on our temperatures. But we're going to have one more day just like this before we really get to the cool stuff by this weekend. Your first Warren 5 Sky Tracker showing you a much quieter picture tonight. And even if we look farther to the west, we're also seeing the precipitation still out in the plains tonight. So that means tomorrow morning should be on the dry side, at least in the large fashion of things. As far as your highs today, we got near 50 degrees. Again, highs tomorrow going to be very similar to today, if not a degree or two warmer. But no question, we're much cooler than we were at this time yesterday, thanks to that cold front. Another big story, our winds have calmed down tonight. They were a little bit breezy earlier today, but they've shifted out of the east-northeast, and they're only running about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Temperatures around the region still in the 40s or upper 30s in Saginaw, lower 40s in Flint, jumping to Bay City, upper 30s and lower 40s in Mount Pleasant. Tomorrow at the bus stop will be dry initially, but grab the umbrella for the ride home. We're going to see rain showers move in. We'll time everything out hour by hour coming up in just a little bit.
Chris, thank you. We want to get to some breaking news now. We're learning more about a police canine that was shot. It happened around 3 p.m. after state police pulled over a car on Flint's north side. A passenger with a gun took off, so police called in the canines, one of which is named Zeke. Well, during the search, a pit bull attacked Zeke. An officer shot and killed that pit bull, but the bullet grazed Zeke. He is doing fine after a few stitches, and police caught the armed suspect. A mid-Michigan woman is dead after an accident involving an Amish buggy. It happened Monday evening around 5:30 on Beaverton-Clare Road. That's in Beaverton Township in Gladwin County. A work van collided with the buggy, killing 31-year-old Sarah Stutzman. 3 Amish children were also hurt and taken to the hospital. The 2 people in the van were uninjured. The Sheriff's Department believes weather and traffic conditions were factors in that crash. Continuing coverage tonight on the situation at a local county jail. Last week, we showed you 2 brutal jailhouse fights at the Midland County Jail. The sheriff attributed the lack of response to underfunding and the need for more deputies. So why isn't the department getting those deputies? TV5's Gino Vici is asking the tough questions.
By dropping the inmate population down, we have been able to at least come closer to meet those administrative rules.
Sheriff Scott Stevenson feels his jail is in violation of state law and says there's only 2 options: get more staff or drop the population. Stevenson says he's been turning away new inmates from MDOC, which means the county is losing money.
One of the administrative rules I believe we're in violation of states that you will have a corrections deputy provided for each level or inmate occupied area.
Back in November, 2 jailhouse brawls occurred in as many days. It was a story you only saw on TV5 News at 6 last week. The sheriff says those fights are a stark reminder of the dangers his deputies face.
Possibly if we had more deputies in there, we could have diffused a situation before it became an issue.
And the sheriff says his jail is well below statewide staffing levels.
When you compare the jail bed capacity of jails and the amount of full-time corrections deputies they have, we are well below average in the state of Michigan.
Sheriff Stevenson is talking about data collected by the Michigan Sheriff's Association. According to that data, Litchfield Jail in Midland is near the bottom of the list in terms of the ratio of inmates to corrections officers. Statewide average, around 6. At Litchfield, that ratio is closer to 10 inmates for every correction officer. We spoke with Commissioner Scott Nosen about jail staffing. He said this, Quote, "We are currently addressing the sheriff's concern about staffing by conducting a study of the jail. But at this time, we feel that study must be reviewed before a decision is made. But the safety of inmates and deputies remains a top priority," end quote. As for Sheriff Stevenson, he says the numbers don't lie. Either commissioners spend money to beef up staffing or risk losing even more funding because of less inmates.
It's my responsibility as a sheriff to drop that inmate population. Why do we drop it? Because we want it safe.
Well, Sheriff Stevenson could have some answers soon. I'm told that study is expected to be completed by next week. Reporting in the Continuous News Center, Gino Vici, WNEM-TV 5 News at 7 on My 5.
All right, Gino, thank you. And don't forget, if you have a tough question you would like us to investigate, just give us a call at either of the two numbers right there on your screen. You can also send an email to WNEM@WNEM.com or get a hold of us on Facebook. Dozens of dogs rescued after a major puppy mill bust. Still ahead at 7, we'll hear from the ASPCA on how they were able to save the abused animals. And a vote looms in the labor dispute between Next Year and the union. The details are next. You are watching TV5 News at 7 on My 5, serving Frankenmuth, Davison, Coleman, and your hometown too. It's coverage you can count on.